you're not supposed to still have that injury because your body's supposed to heal. So there's something that's keeping it inflamed. We have to take back responsibility of our own health. My health truly is my greatest asset.
Welcome back to the I Am Pain-Free podcast. I'm your host, Rob Renee, and today we have an extraordinary guest who's transforming lives with his unique approach to health and vitality. Dr. Linell King is with us, and trust me, you don't want to miss this conversation. Dr. King's journey from traditional medicine to becoming a champion for functional medicine is nothing short of inspiring. He went from saving lives in hospitals to helping people achieve optimal health through a holistic approach. You're going to want to understand why. In this episode, you'll hear Dr. King's personal story about how a family tragedy led him to discover the true potential of the body's healing power. We'll dive deep into the importance of nutrition, gut health, and how functional medicine can address, guess what? The root cause of chronic pain and illness, something that traditional medicine is not doing today. So Dr. King will share the practical tips and insights that you can start applying today to improve your health and what he specializes in, your vitality. He's helping people live a longer, healthier life. So get ready to be enlightened and empowered as we uncover these secrets to a pain-free, vibrant life. Stay tuned. Dr. Linell King. He's amazing. Here we go. Hey, it's Rob. Thanks for coming back to the I Am Pain-Free podcast. I have an amazing guest today, Dr. Linell King. How are you, doctor?
I am great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
I know. I'm so excited. We've been working on this for a few weeks, and so I'm so glad that we're able to make it happen. Just because the more I researched about you, I just love what you do. Right, helping people with their vitality obviously is super important. But not only just helping them with their vitality, but how you do it and why you do it. So that's why I'm just so excited to have you here.
Thank you. I'm excited as well.
Good. So I'd love for you to just start with telling your story. Like, what made you do what you do today?
Yeah, very good questions, because I never thought that I would end up where I am right now. I was one of those higher education, go to the best universities and all of that. And so it all started when I was at Johns Hopkins University. I was doing my internal medicine residency at Hopkins, and I got a phone call from my mom. And my mom said that my dad had just been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer.
Uh-huh.
And I'm sure that pancreatic cancer, it doesn't come with a good prognosis at all.
Right.
So I went to be with my dad, and he had this horrendous surgery called a Whipple procedure, which basically it's probably one of the most horrendous surgeries that you can have. The surgeon says, we got the cancer out, the mass, but there's likely still cancer cells in the body, recommended chemo. All the research has shown that chemo doesn't really add much as far as in that situation to pancreatic cancer. My dad was like, I've suffered enough. He'd lost a ton of weight. He had to learn how to walk again, how to learn how to eat again. It was pretty bad. And my dad was like, I thought he was the epitome of health.
Right.
He was never sick a day in his life. So it really was devastating. And my dad just didn't want to give up. And so I did some research, and I found an institute called the Optimal Health Institute in San Diego.
Okay.
I enrolled both of us there, and for 2 weeks. We were only able to be there a week because his lungs started filling up with malignant fluid. He was the cancer had just spread too far. But during the 1 week that we were there, I learned more about health, more about the digestive system, about the body, how the body heals itself. I learned more about that in that 1 week than the 4 years in medical school and the 3 years that I had spent at Hopkins.
Wow. So 7 years, you learned more in 1 week than you had in 7 years.
Exactly. As far as about how the body really, truly functions and heals.
Right.
I remember after one of the classes, my dad looked up at me and he says, if only I would have known about this sooner.
Ouch. Yeah. Ouch.
And that was probably the most helpless feeling that I've ever felt. Here I was this doctor. I had the best training, and I couldn't say anything. Me too. And
Right.
so I got my dad back home. He did pass away right at the 4-month mark of being diagnosed.
I'm so sorry to
And
hear that. Yeah, that
and
just sucks.
and it was painful. It really was. But it was at that point where I said, you know what, people have to know about this. I can't let anyone suffer or die without the knowledge. And that's where the seed was planted. And I really, it was always there. And just, I went back to Hopkins. I finished. I started working in the hospital, and I was getting out the information. I published 2 magazines on preventative health and holistic health, but still, there was just something that just wasn't. I knew I wasn't really following what I promised that I was
Right.
going to do.
Right.
And so it took me some years, but eventually I made the full switch, and I left what I call the dark side. And now I practice. I finally made that switch, and I practice functional medicine, which is the study of how the body functions optimally. We're trained to get to the root cause of the issue rather
Right.
than putting band-aids on the symptoms. And every single day I'm amazed at what the body is capable of. We accomplish things that we were taught in medical school were impossible. So it's
Wow.
really,
Well,
really
how
amazing.
that's just an incredible story because there's not a lot of people who've made that transition. I think it's happening more and more often. I don't know what you think, but just from what I do, what the people I talk to have a story not like yours, but just in this, they're woken up right at some
Yeah.
point, and at some point you obviously did that through a tragic episode with your dad, but and then just to make that full transition over to functional medicine is unique. But I applaud you for it just because personally I'm learning, right? I'm not a doctor. I'm not in the medical field whatsoever. I started off selling software for decades, but I was a youth athlete, and when I was a runner when I was young, I read a book called Eat to Win. And
Mm.
that book was amazing because it really, at a young age, taught me how important nutrition was, right, to my athletic abilities. I attribute my success as a youth runner. I ended up making the U.S. junior team and got a scholarship to a Division I school and was really close to making the Olympic team. That was my goal in life, to do that. But anyway, I got hit by a truck and my whole life
Oh,
changed from an athletic perspective. But the reason why I mentioned that is just I understand at an early age how important nutrition was, right? But then I got into the world, right? I got into sailing, I got into doing things, and I didn't ever think about that until boom, COVID hit, and then I just started looking at the world again from a perspective of what the heck is going on, and that was my wake up call. Thank goodness it wasn't my father, but that was my point where there's just something wrong with this world. They're vilifying all natural health doctors and practitioners, and I couldn't understand why. And so anyway, the more I researched and dug in, I was just like, man, there is really a big issue and a big problem with our medical industry. And so I've been having a lot of fun just researching and understanding where and why and how, and then meeting incredible people like yourself who, like you even said it, right? That you said you've gone from the dark side to the good side. I applaud you for that. It's just super exciting to hear, and I want to dig into your practice now. What obviously you're doing, you've got an amazing center down in Naples. Is that correct?
that is correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're in Naples, Florida, but we are 100% virtual. And yeah, we have clients all over the world, actually. And the reason why we're able to do this, the reason why it started, this was even prior to COVID.
Okay.
Um, the majority of the clients that I was working with were snowbirds. So there's a big
Ah,
snowbird community here in Naples. And
right.
I wanted to create something that people could do no matter where they were, because they would spend half the year in Florida and then the other half up north. And I didn't want their health to suffer when they were up north. And
Right.
so I created programs that they could do throughout. And so we have coaches and we have practitioners that are just brilliant. We have partnerships with labs all over the world. And so we're able to really take a person from where they are and actually get the testing that's needed, coach them through their nutrition, get their body detox, really balance their hormone balance, everything, mindset. We have a mindset specialist as well.
Awesome.
Everything that is involved in deteriorating health, right? We have to turn that around so that we can get the health back. And so we've aligned all of these things where now you're at one place where everything is coordinated, and all the ingredients to be able to master your vitality, get out of pain, get your energy back, the whole thing is we orchestrate it in a step-by-step format that really makes it easy for people. And they can do it from the comfort of their own homes. It's just been an amazing journey.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's so incredible that you set that remote environment up prior to COVID, because most of the people I talk to is like, oh, that once COVID hit, they're like, now what do I do?
Mhm.
How do I practice the way I used to practice when I can't see people, right?
Yes. Yes.
So for you to have that infrastructure set up prior to, what a blessing for you to have that set up. I'll
Mhm.
bet that what made a lot easier way for you to treat people during that period than most.
Absolutely. And I feel like there's a slight disadvantage when you're actually going into a doctor's office because everything is artificial, right? You're going into an artificial environment, right? They check your blood pressure in
Right.
artificial situation.
Right. And your blood
Then
pressure is usually high because you're nervous, right? You're
exactly. And so all these things, they're making a judgment call and a determination in an environment that's not real, that you're never going to be in again, right? So
Right.
that's number one. And the other thing is the mindset piece where you're going into a practitioner's office for them to heal you. I can't heal anyone. My belief is no doctor can heal you, right? Even if you break your leg, is the doctor healing you? No. The doctor is just putting your bones back into approximation so that the body can heal itself. All we're doing is manipulating the environment so that your body can do what it's built to do. That's it.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
mentality is I'm going to the doctor to get my problems fixed, and then you get your prescription or you get your treatment plan or what have you, and then you leave back into your toxic environment and nothing really changes.
Yeah, that is so impactful, because I think you're 100% right. God made our bodies incredibly complex and incredibly where it does heal itself, right? That's what I believe as well. It's really fun for me to hear you say that, because I love the fact that you say you're not healing anybody. The body is healing itself, which you're just helping get it to the right mechanism and the right way where it can heal itself.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I think that's so important. And it's just sad. That's why I grew up as well. As okay, you're sick, you have to go to the doctor, and then the
Mm-hmm.
doctor's going to prescribe you something. That's how we've all, but not all, but a large majority of society has been trained. And how do we shift that training in our society, do you think?
Yeah, very good question. Because it's you say training, I call it programming, right?
Yeah,
Because we've
for
been
sure.
programmed that
Yeah,
way, and it was strategically done that way.
it was.
I won't get into all of that, but if you
All right,
trace
sounds
the
good. Maybe
history,
we'll do another show on that, because
yeah,
I
if you trace the history of like how medical schools were formed and who was behind it and who funds it and all that,
Oh, amen.
it
I,
will.
I actually talk about that quite a bit. So yeah,
Don't
we'll
make
have to talk about that at a second conversation. But let's
yeah.
anyway.
So
I
how
love
do we move away from that is
it. Yeah,
we have to take back responsibility of our own health because we're programmed to give our health away to the government or to the health insurance agencies or to the pharmaceutical industries. We have to take back control. And so
awesome.
we have to really say, okay, my health truly is my greatest asset. Let me invest into that asset, not just money, time,
Right,
energy, right? Emotions, thought process. Let me actually be proactive about my health. That's what it's all about.
nice.
Most people are programmed to be reactive. I have so many people, they're on 4 or 5 different medications when they come to me. And you know what they tell me? Oh, doc, I'm pretty healthy. I just want to lose some weight. I'm like, but you're on 4 or 5 different medications. You have diabetes, you have high blood pressure, you have this or that. That's not a healthy picture. But what they're saying is, I don't have any pain, right? And pain, since we're on the pain-free podcast,
That's right.
pain is a blessing.
That's right.
It's a blessing because it's pain that causes people to change.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. It's just like the body going, hello, pay
Absolutely.
attention to me, pay attention to me. We got to get this fixed, right?
The
So,
reason why so many diabetics lose limbs is because they have lost the feeling in their feet, in their toes. And so they will they will injure their toes or their feet. They could literally step on a nail or a tack or something like that, and they can't feel it. So when you
wow.
can't feel it, you can't protect yourself. And
Right.
now it becomes infected. And that's how they end up with amputations. And so all of these silent killers, high blood pressure, right? High
Mhm.
cholesterol, a lot of the autoimmune issues, they start out where you're not having any pain. And it's not until it really gets so far advanced is when now you're starting to feel the pain
Yeah.
or the fatigue or the weight gain or whatever it is, whether it's causing you physical pain or mental pain. And it is at that point where most people come in to see me, and because they're driven by that pain to actually make a change.
Gotcha.
So that was a long answer to a short question. But I guess what it is that we need to do is we need to really be proactive so we don't have to go through that pain just to make ourselves change. Let's really have a vision for our future and our health so that we make those changes early on and be
Yeah.
more proactive.
I like it. Do you think we need to do that at a youth from our children's perspective? How do we help society get to that point,
I
get to
wish.
the point where they do that, right? Because I think everything you're saying is exactly what we need to do, right? We need to
Yes.
have people be proactive with their health and understand that health is the greatest wealth that they have. It is their health. So they need to invest in it. So how do we transition from people that have been programmed to go to the doctor and get help and take a pill for an ill that we've been so well programmed to? How do we unprogram people, and or how do we start educating people to do what we're talking about?
Yes. So
Any thoughts on that?
yes, I have a lot of thoughts on it, as you can imagine. So the very first thing that we have to do is we have to start with ourselves. Whoever is
Yeah.
listening to this podcast right now, ask yourself, are you optimal? Not am I healthy, whatever that means to you, but am I optimal? Can I do all the things that I want to do? Am I at the weight that I want to be? Do I have the energy that I want? And start there. And because if you have kids, grandkids, if you're like, if you have people that are watching you, a pillar in society, the changes that you make with yourself, you become a beacon of light. And then people want to know what you're doing, and people actually will follow what you're doing. So just by making the changes within yourself, you're going to affect the future and people that are around you. So that's number one.
There you go. I love that.
Yeah. And then once that happens, because for instance, when I do consultations, I will only, if there's another person in the household. So if you have a spouse, you have to bring your spouse. Now, fortunately, it's a virtual consultation, so it's not
Oh,
that
there you go. So
difficult.
yeah, go grab them from the room.
Exactly. Or if they're at a different location, they can both join in.
There you go. That's true.
But the reason why is because we don't want to just focus on treating one person. What we want to do is we want to create a culture and lifestyle change within the whole household. Because
Nice.
anyone that goes through any of our programs, the whole house gets healthy, not just one person. And that's how you change, because now the kids, the grandkids, they're watching this.
Right.
And now you're breaking that vicious cycle, because whatever you go through, it's going to be passed down, right? And we blame genetics, but a lot of times it's not genetics, it's lifestyle. Genetic
Yeah.
loads the gun, but it's lifestyle that pulls the trigger. So I have a lot of people like, oh, I'm eventually gonna be diabetic because my mom was diabetic. I'm like, if you become diabetic, the only reason is because you eat the same things as your mom. not because you share the same genetics.
There you go.
You know?
There you go. I love it. I love it. One of the things that amazed me that I didn't know about the body was how important gut health was. That everything starts at the gut. If you don't start there, then it's really hard to fix other things, which was really enlightening. When you say that you learned more in those 4 weeks, you said,
1 week.
It was 1 week. Oh my gosh, that's right. Because you were there for 2. Or you were going to be there for 2, and you were only there for 1.
Yeah.
So in that 1 week, what was it? Do you think was it just the style of how the body works, or was it that you learned gut health or something like that was the aha moment? What do you think?
I'll give you an example. So anyone, whether you went to med school, not med school, know a lot about health, little about health, right? If you ask anyone, do you feel that nutrition is mandatory if you're going to live a long, healthy life? What would most people say?
No. I don't know.
I believe that most people would say yes.
Okay,
right?
got it. I just know most people don't. So how?
Now, I'm not asking what they do.
Okay,
most
there we
people
go.
know that nutrition is very important.
There you go.
Right?
That's true.
Most
people don't do it.
They don't do it.
Right.
But they know it.
Got it.
It doesn't take much to know that. So then in medical school, where we're learning supposedly how to heal people, you would think that we were taught a lot about nutrition.
Right.
In actuality, what would you guess the amount of time that they spent teaching us about nutrition in medical school?
Yeah, just because I've done some research on this topic, I know it's small, but what is the actual
3
number
hours.
from your perspective?
3 hours. It was one class.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me?
In 4 years. In 4
That's
years,
ridiculous.
3 hours, right? So just that alone is telling you that medical school are not training doctors to really get people healthy. Now, what were we trained almost every single day on? Pharmaceuticals, right? So then to answer your question, when I went to the Optimal Health Institute, every single day we learned about nutrition.
Wow.
And how important it. We all know intuitively that nutrition is important, but we don't understand how or why, whatever the trend is and whatever is on social media or being advertised, whether it's low fat, one area was low fat, then another era, it was low sugar, whatever the trend is. But we know it's important.
Or whatever, yeah.
Exactly. But we know it's important, but we don't really know a lot about it. Doctors don't know anything about nutrition.
Wow.
Because we weren't taught that. So just that alone. And so then the other thing that I didn't realize is over 70% of the immune system was in the gut.
Right.
And so even as a doctor, you would think that would be common knowledge for a doctor to know, but it's not. Right?
Yeah.
So if you don't know the building blocks of how to truly be healthy, then how are you going to accomplish it? And that's the reason why a lot of physicians are just as sick as their patients.
Wow, that is amazing. Yeah, that was a perfect answer to my question. Is to summarize it and make sure I'm understanding it correctly, is that you learned how important nutrition was, and that 70% of I can't remember what you said, 70% of
the
something
immune
was
system.
The immune system, there we go,
Right? Lives in the gut.
Coming from your gut health. Right?
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Just those two things in and of itself are so key. Right. So
exactly.
That's amazing. And that's a lot of the research that I've been doing, and the understanding is that's what I try to help people with. Like when they say, hey, what do I do? Hey, you can just check your nutrition and your gut health. Literally, that's what I tell people, because I'm learning how important that is. So thank you for that, because that's so critical in the foundation, what people need to start transitioning to. So that just frustrates me so bad that we have been programmed that way. And that's one of the reasons why I do this podcast, is just to start trying to get the message out that, hey, there you can be pain-free. And then people are like, okay, then how do I be pain-free? And I want you to listen to Dr. Linell King, right? He's helping us understand that. So I absolutely love it. So how long have you been, when you made that transition, right, from the bad side to the good side on helping people with functional medicine? What was that transition? When was that? How long ago was
So 2013 is
that? Okay.
when I said, enough is enough. I literally withdrew all of my hospital privileges and I walked away. And
Wow.
I had to first,
God bless you for doing that.
well,
And I'm
thank you.
sure that wasn't easy.
It was not easy at all. And it was very scary because I never had to talk about money as a physician. I never had to do any marketing. We were hospitalists. I was a hospital specialist. No one chooses to go into the hospital.
Right.
And so we didn't have to worry about having enough business. We were overwhelmed with patients because there's so much sickness in the world. And
Right.
so basically we were tire patching. We were getting people well enough to go home. But what we found was they just ended up right back. Whether it's a year later, 3 years later, they ended up back on more medications, not less. Ended up back sicker, not healthier. And then I found my health starting to decline as well. And so I can't keep doing this. So I took a hiatus. I did some personal development, some spiritual development, and really got my own health where I needed to be. And that was the
Awesome.
foundation of my first book called Mastering Vitality. I basically took everything that I learned to heal my own self, put it in
Yeah.
a book. And then that's when I really made the shift. And then I took it a step further and I got trained in functional medicine. And that was the ultimate game changer. And so now I educate the communities about this stuff. I do a webinar where people tell me all the time, oh my God, you taught me more in that 1 hour than I've known all my life. And so it's really rewarding to really
Yeah,
be.
what a blessing. So that 1 week you spent in San Diego was foundational for you spreading the love, right? And doing
Absolutely.
that. That's amazing. I was watching a review of somebody talking about you, and that was what they loved about you was that you explained it in a really a way that they could understand. And
Mhm.
I think that's so important. So kudos to you for talking about really complex topics, but in a way that normal, aka normal people can understand it. Because gosh, I, like you, believe that we need to deprogram people from the matrix, and they need to understand how important their health is, and we need to educate.
But if it's so confusing that where people feel overwhelmed, because that's what happened to me. Like before I studied, because I left that world and I went into just all in into health and wellness. And so I got a functional practitioner myself first. I saw multiple functional medicine doctors, and this is what would happen. I would go in, they're brilliant, right?
Right.
Brilliant. They would do all these tests and pages of results, and they're going through it with me. And they say, okay, now we want you to take these supplements and this and that or the other. And I'm like, okay, all this is like amazing. You're brilliant. And then I would get home and I wouldn't remember anything. I don't remember
Yeah.
what this was for or this. And so I wasn't compliant. I didn't really stick with it because I didn't really understand it. And I
Right.
was a physician. So
Exactly.
I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, here I'm a physician and I don't understand this stuff. How in the hell is anyone else going to understand it?
Seriously.
So then
Yeah.
when I said, I have to study this. I have to really master it. And so once I did, then it was my goal to teach it to people, lay people, in a way where they understand. Because what we find is that once a person understands what a particular food is doing inside their body, or what stress is doing, or what their hormone balance is like, or why they're feeling that chronic pain, once they understand it, then they are empowered. And that's when compliance goes through the roof. Most
Nice.
people can't stick with anything because they're just
Because
guessing. They're throwing stuff at the wall, hoping it sticks, and they're doubting. And then the next summit that they watch, or the next ad that they watch, or the next webinar that they watch, then they switch up because there's like, oh, I must need to do this, or oh no, it's this and this. So we just take all of the guesswork out of it, show them exactly what they need to do, ABC 1, 2, 3, in a way that's simple and sustainable, because that is the only thing that's really going to get people where they want to be.
Nice, nice. That is so fantastic. I love that because you take the complex and you make it simple,
That is
and
correct.
then you help them do it in a way that is ABC 1, 2, 3.
That
Something that's
is
so
correct.
simple that they can understand, and by them understanding, they will actually do it
Yes.
and implement it. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I think that makes really good sense. And I'm so glad that you're here on this earth helping people do that because, man, we need lots more of you. So God bless you for doing what you are doing. So the webinars that you do them often? Do you do them weekly, monthly, or just how do people
Yes.
find your webinars?
Yeah. They can go to naplesvitality.com, and
Okay.
we have webinars, the past recordings that I do, that I've done. You can go on naplesvitality.com and look at those. And I'm usually doing some webinar at least on a weekly basis in some
Nice.
form or capacity, because I love educating, and that's really what lights me up. And so
Good.
it's very easy to engage with me just by going to the website.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. And then you obviously alluded to you told us about your first book, but what other books have you written?
Yes, my second book, Mastering Inflammation.
Ah, nice.
Yes. So basically, it's a manual of everything that we do as a functional medicine kind of practice that has gotten the people the amazing results. Because so many people, they read our reviews and things of that nature. It's like, how are you doing this? Like, how are you? I don't understand. Like, how can you get these type of results? So I put all of that in a book. So the first
Nice.
book was how I got myself healthy.
There
The
you go.
second book is how I got everybody else healthy.
Yeah.
And so that's called Mastering Inflammation. But the thing about Mastering Inflammation, I haven't released it yet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm a little bit of a
Interesting.
perfectionist, and so there's some tweaks that I want to do. So I haven't released it yet, but anyone that engages with me and does a consultation or a health analysis or what have you, we actually get them an electronic copy of that book.
Nice. Oh, great, great. So then they can start learning and helping themselves
Ex-
from that perspective. Nice,
Exactly.
nice. Any ideas when you think you'll actually finish it and get it out into the world?
It's finished. The things that I don't feel like I have enough personal stories in it. It's
Okay.
very kind of methodical. That's
Right.
one change I want to make. And I haven't really decided if I'm in love with the title Mastering Inflammation.
That's
So
it.
once I wrestle around with that, then I'll release it.
That's exciting. I love it. So thank you for just everything that you're doing. What else do you think from an educational perspective and or a practice perspective? People can obviously find you through naplesvitality.com, right? Anything else you'd like to share?
Yeah, so we also have a Facebook group called Mastering
Okay.
Vitality, and people can engage with me there. And whenever I get inspired, which is quite often, I'll usually pop on and do Facebook Lives and things of that nature. People ask questions, and rather than just going to each individual question and answer it, what I'll do is I will get all of the questions and I'll just go on and do a live and answer them all. If people have questions and things of that nature that they want to get answered, Mastering Vitality Facebook group is what I would recommend.
A great way to engage with you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
One of the things I did want that I wanted to ask you earlier that I didn't, but I just remembered to is a I've been doing a lot of research recently on molecular hydrogen and just hydrogen in general. I first started, doing hydrogen water maybe a year and a half ago. I had this product called a water smacker. It's really interesting. It creates hydrogen water, and then now all the rage with these bottles that people are buying to use hydrogen water. And I'm like, what the heck is this? Why is hydrogen so important? And so I started doing a lot of research, on molecular hydrogen and how that can have a impact on the human body. Have you done much research on it, or what do you think about hydrogen in general?
Yeah. Here's the thing. Is it healthy? Yes. Is it great? Yes. But one thing that I am a big proponent of is making sure that you cover your bases.
Yeah.
For instance, I get asked all the time, what is the best water to drink? Is it alkaline water? Is it hydrogen water? Is it this type of water? Filtered?
Drink tap water.
What should I do? And here's the thing. I ask them all the time, how much water are you drinking? Maybe 1 or 2 bottles a day. Okay, first thing that I want you to do is I want you to drink more water.
Right.
Whatever type of water that you will drink more of, that's what I want. So even we're going to get some hate mail with this one, but even tap water, right? Tap water will save your life. If you're on
It's better than none is what you're saying,
exactly.
right?
If you're on a deserted island and there's no water and someone brings you a hose with some tap water, you're going to say, oh no, I don't drink tap water. Get that toxic stuff away from me. No. You're going to drink the hell out of that tap water and survive. That's what.
There you go.
So the
Cover
reason,
your bases. I like that.
yeah, the reason why I bring that up is because it's not, people do that with everything, not just water. They get so caught up in, oh, is organic food really good? Or do I really need to get grass fed? Or do I really, and then they just, do I need to eat plant-based? Or should I eat low carb? One person says grains are healthy. Another person says grains are the devil. And then what happens is they get all confused and then they just go off to Cheesecake Factory, right?
Exactly. And they go grab their donut and eat a donut, right?
Exactly. I'm trying to stress myself out. I'm going to get a donut from Dunkin' Donuts. It's happened to me. So here's what I say. First of all, are you covering the bases? If you're covering the bases, then you go to the next step and you get the gadgets and things of that nature, right?
There you go. There you
So
go.
hydrogen water is excellent, but if you're only drinking 2 bottles a day, how much is it really doing you?
Super good point. No, I love that. How many glasses do you recommend people
Half
drink?
your body weight in ounces is the minimum.
Okay. Very
right?
good.
And so even people, oh, you need 8 glasses a day. A 90-pound, 4-foot woman probably needs a little bit less than a 6'2", 200-pound man. So it has to be size based. So half your body weight. So if you're a 200-pound man, you need to be drinking 100 ounces of water. And I find very few people that are drinking that much water. So that's the first goal. And awesome. What type of water? Whatever water you're going to drink. Because if I make it too difficult,
then you won't do it.
Then you're not going to do it.
I love that. No, that's an awesome point, and I'm glad we actually talked about water just in general, because I think that you're right. That's like such a core foundation, like gut health, right? If you don't have the right water in your body, then exercise, losing weight is impossible, right? If you don't, because it doesn't matter how much you exercise, if you don't have good fluid intake and water intake, then you're gonna have a really difficult time losing weight.
And it's challenging getting out of pain when that happens, because all of that, see, everything is connected, and so when you're dehydrated or when you have a lot of toxin buildup, right? Because dehydration causes your body not to be able to get rid of toxin. And then toxins build up. Guess what? That causes inflammation. And so then when you have that injury, like your car accident, or if someone has a sports injury, and as you get older, people say, oh man, I still have this injury. What? You're not supposed to still have that injury, because your body's supposed to heal. So there's something that's keeping it inflamed,
preventing it from healing.
Right? And so the chronic inflammation sets in to a past injury, and it stays injured. That's what happens. And sometimes you have bad days and good days, right? So people will say, oh no, I have a bad back and that's the reason why this hurts, or blah, blah, blah. I said, well, do you have good days? Yeah, I have good days. Some days it doesn't hurt. Okay, so did the structure of your back change on that day? No, I still have the same structure. So there's something that changed, right? On the day that you didn't have any pain, do you still have the history of the sports injury? Yeah, I still have that. Okay, so it's not that. There's something that changed from this day to this day. And that is inflammation. And so once we get rid of inflammation, then pain goes away.
I love it, because you're talking about that, and that's so important. I love the way you're thinking, just because you got to get to the core, right? What is causing the problem?
Absolutely.
And the most unfortunately, that our doctors aren't trained to get to the causation of the issue. They just treating the symptom. And so I think that's just a great way to round up our episode, is that you're helping people the right way. You're helping heal people, but you don't do the healing. The body does the healing. I say the Lord is healing you because I'm a faithful guy, right? I believe that our body's that way.
I
So
believe that too, because no one's been able to duplicate this human body.
yeah, our human body is incredibly amazing. So
Exactly.
let's give it what it needs, and then it'll heal itself.
Yes.
But man, the education that we've done, the programming that we've received is literally on purpose, and we need to deprogram people so that they can live a healthy life and have vitality like you preach. And I love that so much. So thank you so much for taking the time with us today. I want to make sure everybody goes to naplesvitality.com, sign up for one of those webinars, get educated, get help. If you need assistance with any of your health issues, look up Dr. Linell King, right? And go to Naples Valley or Naples Vitality and get some help. He can help you anywhere in the world. So that's incredible. So thank you so much, Doctor, for taking the time today. I really appreciate you.
Absolutely. I appreciate you. Keep doing what you're doing. This is fantastic.
Awesome. God bless you. We're signing off from the I Am Pain Free podcast. If you enjoyed in this episode, you might be expecting a sales pitch for a pain relief solution. But here's a pleasant surprise. I'm offering a 3-episode pop-up podcast absolutely free. This exclusive 3-episode private podcast series is packed with more value than many paid programs out there. And getting access to this is a breeze. If you're listening on your phone, simply open up your text messaging app and send the word pain free. It can be 1 or 2 words to 41 pain free. So that's 417-246-3733. Again, that's 417-246-3733. If you're not a fan of texting, no big deal, right? Just visit iampainfree.com. Super easy. iampainfree.com. You can access this private podcast series instantly for no cost. All right? This isn't just any podcast series. We call it Beyond Pain, the triple B blueprint for pain-free existence. It really is a treasure trove of secrets, expert interviews, and a resource vault, all aimed at guiding you to live pain-free naturally and faithfully, right? That's my passion. It's a rare and value-packed resource that we're thrilled to share with you. So don't wait. Just grab that cell phone, grab your text messaging app, type pain-free in there, and just send it to 417-246-3733. Or, like I mentioned, go to iampainfree.com and unlock this exclusive content, all completely free. God bless.